Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime straight ahead in this episode of Classic Radio Theater with the Crime Club, Gangbusters, Suspense, Dangerous Assignment, and of course, The Strange Dr. Weird. That's all straight ahead. On this Wednesday, this is the 10th day of April, the 101st day of 2024, 265 days until we get to 2025. Yes, it's a leap year. U.S. patent system established on this date in 1790. A day after his surrender to Union forces, Confederate General Robert E. Lee addressed his troops for the last time on this date in 1865. On that same date in 1865, the last photograph of Abraham Lincoln alive was taken. 1866, the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals founded in New York City. In 1912, the Titanic left port in Southampton, England, for her first and last voyage. 1916, the Professional Golfers Association of America created in New York City. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, first published in New York in 1925. In 1933, the Civilian Conservation Corps is created in response to the New Deal and the Depression. In 1944, Henry Ford II named Executive Vice President of Ford Motor Company. In 1970, Paul McCartney announced that the Beatles had broken up.
I always used to do sort of an interview a week almost for a newspaper or for something, just to keep my name in the headlines, because I don't know, you just go through a phase of wanting to be up there, in the limelight. Well, I'm going through a phase now where I don't want to be in the limelight.
The breakup caused by legal and financial conflicts as well as those of artistic vision. 48% of Americans polled in a Gallup poll on this date in 1970 approved of President Nixon's Vietnam policy, 41% disapproved. In 1971, in an attempt to thaw relations with the U.S., the People's Republic of China hosted the U.S. table tennis team for a week-long visit. In 1978, Volkswagen became the first non-American automobile manufacturer to build cars in the United States, opening a plant in Pennsylvania. And in 2006, hundreds of thousands protested H.R. 4437, the Sensenbrenner bill. It was officially named the Border Protection, Anti-Terrorism, and Illegal Immigration Control Act of 2005. In cities across the U.S., the bill passed the House, but not the Senate. Passing away on this date in history, actresses Linda Darnell and Kay Medford. Also, Natalie Schaefer, best known as Lovey Howell, Mrs. Howell, in the Gilligan's Island television show. Sam Kinison, a very funny comedian, a little bit body. My good friend Carl LeBeau, a good friend of Kinison's, and he spoke glowingly of him. Wilma Flintstone, the voice of Wilma, Jean Vanderpyle, passing away on this date. Frank Burns in MASH, Larry Linville, passing away on this date. The lady who sang about the locomotion, Little Eva, passing away on this date. She was Julia Sugarbaker in Designing Women. Dixie Carter, passing away on this date as well. And Mad Magazine cartoonist Al Jaffee, passing away on this date just 1 year ago today. Birthdays today include Harry Morgan.
Well, I think mostly that was on my part. I was always joking around. Sometimes I joked, I played it a little too lightly, and Jack would say, hold it, it's not all that funny.
And you'd do another take.
Yeah. But I think that's sort of what I was there for, to be a counterpart to, Jack was very steadfast and loyal and heavy-handed in a certain way, because of the position he had in the character and in the whole process. And I was sort of a counterpoint, I think. At least that's the way I felt. And he seemed to go along with it.
Depending upon your generation, you remember him as in Dragnet. You might remember him from MASH as Colonel Potter. Or you might remember him from his old radio shows, Harry Morgan, or working in Pete and Gladys, that television show. Harry Morgan passing, born on this date in history, I should say. Also born on this date, Commodore Matthew Perry, the founder of the Salvation Army, William Booth, publisher Joseph Pulitzer, the man who did wonderful, what we call now exotica music, The Quiet Village, Martin Denny, born on this date. Actor Chuck Connors, the rifleman. Actor Sheb Woolley, who did country songs as Ben Colder, and they were parody songs. And, of course, you also, the Purple People Eater, he did that song as well. Actor Omar Sharif, writer David Halberstam, football players Don Meredith, who also fine broadcaster, and another broadcaster and football coach, John Madden. Frank Caliendo did such a wonderful Madden impression. And also born on this date, Junior Samples.
Hi, friend. Honest as a day is long samples here. Folks, I don't mind telling you I made a bundle pushing used cars. And starting this weekend, I'm passing my profits on to you. Come on down to the lot and ask one of our salesmen on parole to work out some terms for you. That's BR549, and hold down the collect calls. I'm no Rockefeller, you know.
The very funny Junior Samples, that from Hee Haw, Junior Samples, born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
And among those celebrating birthdays who are still with us, actor Steven Seagal is 72. Babyface, Kenneth Edmonds, the R&B music producer, musician, he is 65 years old today. From the Stray Cats, Brian Setzer is 65. From Katrina and the Waves, Katrina Leskanich, Walking on Sunshine, 64 years old today. R&B singer Kenny Lattimore is 54. Race car driver Casey Kane turns 44 today.
My whole life, I've watched the Indy 500. Today, a lot of my dreams came true winning the Brickyard 400.
To win in Indianapolis, to win at the Brickyard, a place that I've respected and always loved watching races and being part of it when I started racing here. It was a huge win for myself and my team, and we're going to work really hard from here to get ready to go for those final 10. I mean, that's what we all want to be in, that's what we want to be a part of, and super excited to be back in that.
Fox Sports audio from the 2017 Indianapolis Brickyard 400 race. Casey Kane, 44 today. Singer Mandy Moore, A Walk to Remember, This Is Us. She has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Mandy Moore, 40 years old today. From Pretty Little Liars, Shay Mitchell, 37. AJ, Amanda McKella from Allie and AJ. She was also in the Goldbergs and Schooled. She's 33 years old today. She was Rey in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, Daisy Ridley, 32. And you remember He Sees Dead People from The Sixth Sense, Haley Joel Osment, 36 years old.
Tom Hanks, I was only 4 years old, and I was struck by how prepared and how dedicated he was and how intense his focus was on set. And I just got very lucky to work with actors and directors who were very generous with their time.
Look, there you are.
25 years ago. Yeah.
So
I remember that very well.
Like, I just want to squeeze your cheek.
That little playroom in there, they had a bunch of little toy foam balls, and in between scenes, Tom and I had like a little
cool.
like snowball fight. Yeah.
In addition to his role in The Sixth Sense, he got to work with Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks, at the age of 4. Haley Joel Osment today turns 36 years old. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 10th day of April as their birthday. If this is your birthday.
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you.
And we'll get started in a moment with an episode of Mutual's The Crime Club. That goes all the way back 77 years to April 10th, 1947, and the Gray Mist Murders. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thank you for tuning in and getting our podcast. This is Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, and we'll be back in a moment.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-515-6302. 800-515-6302. 800-515-6302. That's 800-515-6302.
And up next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of Mutual's Crime Club, as it was broadcast 77 years ago today, April 10th, 1947, The Gray Mist Murders.
Hello, I hope I haven't kept you waiting. Yes, this is the Crime Club. I'm the librarian. The Gray Mist Murders? Yes, we have that Crime Club story for you. Come right over. Ah, you're here. Good. Take the easy chair by the window. Comfortable? The book is on this shelf. Here it is, The Gray Mist Murders, by Constance and Gwyneth Little. The very intriguing story of a pleasure cruise that became a floating horror. Let's look at it under the reading lamp. It was late afternoon, and Robert Arnold's ocean-going yacht, the Gray Mist, was already 8 hours out of San Francisco and traveling under full steam toward Honolulu. Two of his friends, Peter Condit and Phyllis Marsh, stood by the rail in the bow of the ship, absorbed as they watched the water go by. Then, a few moments later...
Nothing to say, Peter?
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry, Phyllis. I was just thinking.
What about?
We ought to get married.
What?
All of us. A triple wedding. Carla Bray and Bob Arnold, you and Chet Gordon, and...
And you and Kay Bayless?
Uh-huh. Today. Bob could get the skipper to do the honors.
You're slightly off the beam, Peter.
I know it sounds crazy, but why not be crazy for a change?
Not with my life. I believe in waiting and watching.
What for? You're going to marry Chet anyway, aren't you?
Maybe.
Oh, aren't you sure?
I don't know.
But you're engaged.
So? Peter?
Huh?
It's Kay. Now you can ask her how she feels about a double wedding.
All right. Stand by and watch the reaction. Okay, darling, come over here. I've got something to ask you.
After me, sweetheart.
Oh,
Kay! Well, Peter, wouldn't you like to know what that was for?
What's the idea, Kay?
Don't you ever try to make a fool of me again.
What are you talking about?
Your ex-heartthrob, Peter, Sally Grable.
Huh?
She's on this boat. And wherever she is, she's doing a good job of hiding.
Oh, now listen.
We've been sailing for 8 hours, and I haven't seen her. Now, where would she be, Peter?
No, she isn't. You must have had a bad dream.
She is, and I didn't. But, Kay, if you didn't see her, how do you know? This handkerchief was where it shouldn't be.
Oh?
Recognize it, darling?
Let me see it.
Be gentle, or you'll rub off the monogram.
Where'd you get it, Kay?
I found it on the other side of the deck. It was hugging the rail for dear life.
Well, I'll be...
Of course, dear. The sooner the better.
Wait a minute.
Yes?
Where's the rest of the crowd?
Your laugh, mate?
Cut it out, Kay. Where's Bob and Chet and Carla?
In the lounge, I suppose, giggling over their brandy.
Then you showed them this handkerchief, huh?
Oh, yes, and they were so surprised.
Thanks. I'll see you later. We'll soon find out who's kidding whom.
Oh, it's not really so funny, kiddies.
You didn't mind laughing, Carla, did you?
Oh, just to be sociable, Bob. Well, I've got things to do.
Where are you going, honey?
Down to my cabin. Got a notion I'd like to bathe.
She really means it, Chet.
Oh, no, Bob, that's not what I'm laughing about. Every time I think of that look on Kay's face when she held up that handkerchief.
It was like murder.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Pete, what a beating he must be taking now. I feel sorry for it. Chet, did you plant that handkerchief?
Well, no, but I thought it was you.
Oh, it wasn't.
Carla?
No, she doesn't go in for practical jokes.
Neither does Phyllis. Say.
I don't believe it, Chet. She can't be on board the Gray Mist.
Yeah, but if she is. If she is.
Skipper, this is Mr. Arnold. Did a young lady come on board this morning before I arrived at my party? What? Well, why didn't you tell me? No, very well.
She's here, huh?
He thought she was a guest. He told the steward about her.
All right, you lugs, where is she?
The voice of doom.
Now listen, Pete.
You and Chet have got Sally stowed away on this boat someplace, and I'll bring her out.
All right, but we'll have to find her first.
Oh, why did you do it?
Oh, now look, Pete.
Shut up, Chet. I'm talking to the master now, the boy who handed out the invitation.
Sally wasn't invited, Pete. I don't know how she found out about this trip, but she's here, and we'll have to do something about it.
Sure. Well, just do me one favor. Keep her out of sight.
You hot-headed fool. Why don't you listen?
Keep her in her cabin locked up until we get to Honolulu. Will you do that one little thing for me?
Okay.
Thanks. And after that, you can laugh yourself sick. Because Kay and I are checking out as soon as we dock.
Well, how about a song, Bob?
Fool.
Something like Old Lang Syne. Should old acquaintance be forgotten?
Shut up, Chet. Let's look for Sally.
Bob!
I could do that with another song.
Bob!
Carla.
Bob!
What's the matter? Carla.
She's in my cabin. In my cabin.
Sally?
Yes, in the closet on the floor. And there's a cord around her neck.
What?
I opened the closet to get a dress for tonight. And
Chet. Chet, stay here with Carla. I'm going downstairs. Yes, Dr. Lang. Come down here right away. Carla Bray's cabin. Bob, Chet, what are you doing here?
Well, I thought I might be able to help.
How's Carla?
Oh, she's all right. Phyllis came into the lounge, and Well, there's no doubt of that, is there?
Ah.
Oh, poor kid. To wind up like that. Who could have done it, Bob?
You're asking me?
Yeah, but why here? In Carla's room.
Sally wasn't killed in here, Chet.
What?
She'd been dead for hours when she was planted in that closet.
Hours? What are you talking about?
Take a look at the body.
Okay. Yeah. That could be rigor mortis.
It is, Chet. I sent for Dr. Lang. He'll know more about the exact time she was killed.
Yeah, sure.
But I got a few ideas of my own. Sally was dead before we pulled her out of the harbor.
Say, wait a minute. You're going too fast for me.
Yeah, that's right, Chet. Somebody, one of our little crowd, saw Sally first, and that was the end of our Sally.
Yeah, but why? And why park the body here after keeping it hidden for a whole day? Say, Bob, is somebody trying to frame Carla?
That doesn't make sense.
No, it's cockeyed. Why, everybody knows that Carla and Sally were the best of friends. It was Carla who tried to keep the big romance going between Pete and Sally.
That's why it doesn't make sense.
Well, hey.
Huh?
Just an idea, so don't breathe fire. You didn't ask Sally to join the party.
I said I didn't.
All right. But how do you know Carla didn't?
Ah, see, here, Chet.
All right, just to get her friend and Pete together again. Some people call it loyalty, you know.
Go ahead, Chet.
All right. Now, suppose Kay found out what Carla had done, and she had visions of losing Pete to Sally. You know how she worked to take him away from her.
So she tied a cord around her neck, huh?
Well, I don't like to be the one to say so, Bob.
And then dragged the body from somewhere to this room?
But there's nothing a woman likes less than being outsmarted by another woman.
Okay, Chet. Will you ask Carla to meet me in the library in 20 minutes?
All right, sure.
I'm going to wait here for Dr. Lang. Then I'm going to find out who started this thing and why.
Bob.
What's that?
Bob, you're brilliant. Who else would it be?
Carla. Oh, Carla, baby, what's the matter?
On the library floor, Chet. It's Bob. He's been killed.
Holy... somebody run for a doctor, quick.
Who did it, Carla?
I don't know, Kay. I was going to meet him.
Did you, sweetheart? Kay. It just occurred to me that Carla's quite a finder, Phyllis.
Cut it out, Kay. This is no time for comedy.
No, Peter, just for murder.
You're a fool, Kay. What reason would Carla have for killing Bob?
One never knows, dear. There are so many reasons why a woman should kill a man, and one of them can be another woman.
Oh, why don't you shut up and dry up?
I'm only thinking about Sally. I wonder who took her along for the ride. Was it Bob?
Let's get out of here, Kay.
The boyfriend of the best friend. Huh, the oldest story in the world, you know.
Pay no attention to her, Carla. Ever since she found Sally's handkerchief.
Carla.
I haven't heard a word she said, Phyllis. If she only knew how little she means to me.
Yeah.
To pick on me at a time like
Carla.
this.
It's all right.
What's all right? Bob!
Come here, honey.
Bob! Oh, darling, you are all right.
Well, not quite. I still have a headache.
Oh, my darling. We've been so busy arguing about who killed you, I didn't think to look.
Yeah, it takes quite a lot to crack solid ivory, but somebody tried awful hard. Come on in, gang.
You look pretty well, considering.
Yeah, we might as well all be together, even though it's not going to be a week.
What happened, Bob?
Well, I'm glad to see you're interested, Pete.
Now, look!
I should have done that when I opened the door. Would have seen who was waiting behind it with the Empire State Building in one hand.
Kay seems to think it was Carla, Bob.
So I heard when I was coming under the fog. Her reasons were very interesting.
Bob!
Relax, Carla. They were just interesting, not true. Well, shall we play 20 questions now? We shall. Chet, when you told Carla to meet me here in 20 minutes, who was present?
Everybody?
Yes. And then everybody disappeared.
Yeah, I went to the billiard room.
Alone, Bob?
I went to my stateroom to rest.
How about you, Pete?
I went for a walk on deck with Kay.
Is that right, Kay?
You don't think he's lying, do you?
It's possible that he isn't, but somebody is.
How about you, Carla? You had 20 minutes to kill.
I went to the game room, Kay.
Why, of course. And the game room is right next to the lounge.
Carla, were you able to see the stairway?
I didn't see anyone go down, Bob. But then...
Yeah?
Well, I wasn't watching it. I was walking around.
But the game room, dear, is where you play games.
I've had enough of you, Kay, and everything that goes with you.
Now, wait a minute. There's going to be no hair pulling while I'm around.
She's got no right to keep throwing mud at me, Chet.
Yeah, I know.
She killed Sally and tried to kill Bob. And the more she tries to put the blame on me, the more I'm convinced of it.
All right.
It's not all right at all. She's not going to call me a murderer.
Stop it, Kay. Pete, get her out of here.
Nobody has to get me out. I'll see you all later.
That means around dinner time if I know Kay. I'm sorry about the rumpus, Bob.
Okay, Pete.
I think I'll go up to the bar and start drowning myself in the best liquor you've got.
Either I'm crazy or this boat is jinxed. We start out on a cruise, the best of friends, and before the end of the day, we find that we're the worst enemies. Come on, Phyllis. Let's go up on deck and go haywire.
I'm going to my cabin, Chet.
What?
I'm very tired.
Oh, okay. I'll go down to the boiler room and cool off.
That Kay.
Forget her, please. Carla, did you invite Sally on this trip?
Did I what?
When you look surprised, honey, you're really beautiful.
I'm not surprised, Bob. I'm angry. I had a lot of respect for Sally.
You don't have to say another word. I'm convinced.
But you thought of it.
Oh, darling, I apologize. Now let's go and search all the cabins, including the empty ones. We might trip over something like a clue to the murderer. And then we'll know who's who and who paid her off.
Where have you been for the last hour, Kay?
Around. Pull up a deck chair, Peter, and make believe we know each other.
I've been looking for you.
How nice. I hope you weren't too disappointed when you peeped in my cabin.
What was the idea, Kay?
Oh? Did I have an idea?
That lousy scene you made outside the library. Why did you accuse Carla?
I don't like her.
It was the dirtiest thing I ever listened to.
But I'm very fond of you, Peter. And I wouldn't like to lose you to the hangman.
What's that?
Oh, you're wonderful. Why don't we get married and end this beautiful romance?
What did you mean, Kay? About the hangman.
You killed Sally.
Now listen.
That's all right. I don't mind. I'm only sorry you didn't kill Bob Arnold, too.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I do. After Chet told Carla to meet Bob in the library, we, didn't go for a walk on the deck.
You'll keep your mouth shut about that, Kay.
But you said we did. And that wasn't the truth, was it, darling?
If you say one word to Bob or anybody else...
What'll you do? Kill me, too?
Good grief!
There. I'll keep your secret.
But I tell you, Kay, I had nothing to do with this business today. I didn't know Sally was on board until you showed me that handkerchief.
Your piccolo's out of tune.
What are you trying to do? That's what I want to know. What are you trying to do?
Sit down, and keep your temper. Because if I start screaming... There, that's a good boy.
I didn't kill Sally.
No one will ever know from me. Would you like me to prove it?
How?
Well, a wife can't give evidence against her husband.
You haven't got anything on me.
Don't be silly. All I have to do is talk, and the only alibi you've got becomes a witness for the prosecution.
Yes?
Yes. Because whoever tried to kill Bob killed Sally. And for the sake of the record, the marriage record, I was with you on both occasions, protecting my future.
Bob, we've been trotting around from cabin to cabin, and I'm tired.
Only 3 more empties to go, Carla. Sally must have been in one of them.
This is like hunting for a ghost. And when it happens to be the ghost of your best friend...
This is it.
Luggage. Sally's luggage.
It must be. No one was checked into this room by me.
Bob.
What is it, Carla?
I don't think I can go through with it. Will you excuse me, please?
Oh, sure, honey. I should have thought of it myself. You go up on deck and get some air. I'll look around here, and if I find anything interesting...
What's the matter?
Her handbag on the dresser. It's a funny position to leave a handbag in.
Standing on end.
That's a tip-off, Carla. There's something in it that Sally wanted us to find.
What do you mean?
She's a very smart girl, and she might have left her handbag this way so it'd be noticed.
Bob, just before she was killed?
Maybe she didn't know she was going to be killed. But she was frightened. She did some quick thinking.
What's that you're reading?
Good Lord, there's one thing I didn't expect to find.
Well, what is it?
A letter to Sally. Read it.
I've made up my mind, so let's not mess things up. Stay off the gray mist. Chet. Chet?
Yeah, of all people.
Chet and Sally? Not a word to anybody.
There's no doubt about it, Carla. That's his handwriting top to bottom. Al, there's only one thing to do.
But we won't do it now.
What?
Phyllis.
Not now, will we? Please give me that letter.
I'll do nothing of the kind.
Carla, don't be foolish. You're an old friend. And I'm very fond of you.
You wouldn't dare use that gun.
I would. I'm engaged to marry Chet. And if I have to shoot you to get that letter, I'll shoot you.
There's no use arguing, Carla. Give it to her.
But she'll destroy it.
There's nothing we can do about it now. Give it to her.
Well, all right.
Thanks. I'll explain some other time.
Bob, has she gone out of her mind?
I don't know. But if sticking by your man means that you're out of your mind, then she is.
Why, you sound as if you admire her.
Me? I don't even admire myself. Let's go upstairs. I'd like to have a chat with Chet.
You know, Bob, this is the nicest bar I've ever been in. It's the cleanest, too. You ought to get a medal for it.
Snap out of it, Chet. If you're playing drunk.
Sure, I'm playing. You and Carla say I'm a murderer. That makes me want to play some more. Where's the letter I'm supposed to have written?
Phyllis took it away from us.
Phyllis, huh? She's some girl. She's 1 in a billion. And you know, the days of the little millions are gone forever. Goodbye forever, goodbye forever.
Bob, we'll never get any
goodbye,
pleasant tonight.
Won't we? Give me that pitcher of ice water.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye,
Here,
goodbye,
Bob.
goodbye,
Now
goodbye,
watch.
goodbye. Hey, that's cold.
Not as cold as you're going to be if you don't start making sense.
So what's the big idea?
We want to know about you and Sally.
Me? What are you talking about?
Don't you remember a thing we said to you?
Well, you said it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, a letter that Phyllis took.
That you wrote to Sally, telling her to stay off this boat.
Oh, no, Carla, I never wrote one word to Sally. Oh, you gotta believe me.
We found it in her handbag, Chet.
And the handwriting was yours.
You know what, kiddies? I think there's a lunatic on board.
How about it, Chet?
No, I mean it, Bob. Look, what happened? First, Sally's found in the closet of Carla's room. And then you're conked for no reason at all, and now then this letter of mine.
Tell us about that, pal.
But I didn't write it. I haven't seen it. But I can tell you it's a forgery.
That's always convenient.
No, Carla, I'm not lying, honest. Look, Bob, you know me for a long time. You know my handwriting. Could you imitate it?
That's not the point, Chet.
Well, could you or couldn't you?
Yes, if I wanted
Well,
to.
so could Carla and so could anybody. It's the easiest handwriting in the world to imitate. It's like a schoolboy's.
Well, will you get that letter from Phyllis?
I'll try, if she's still got it. And I certainly hope she has.
Bob, did he put one over on us?
I don't know, Carla. I wonder.
Well, you want to be a detective. And you know, a good detective has to take lessons. Good lessons.
Huh?
Would you like to have a lemon fizz, darling? Or just a fizzle?
Peter,
Huh? Oh, Phyllis. Can you play billiards?
I want to talk to you.
All right. What about?
I overheard what Kay said to you a little while ago.
Snooping, huh?
I didn't mean to, Peter.
Let's go out on deck.
I want you to understand one thing.
When we get outside, Phyllis.
Very well.
Now, what do you want?
The truth.
You too.
Bob and Carla found that letter in Sally's handbag.
What letter?
The one you wrote in Chet's handwriting after you killed Sally.
Is this something new?
There's no use denying it, Peter. You didn't want Sally to come on this boat. And when you found she was here, you killed her and tried to make it look as though Chet had done it.
Who's got that letter now, Phyllis?
I took it from Carla. I had to use force, but I took it.
I'd like to see it.
You can't.
Why not?
I destroyed it.
Why, you dumb cluck. What did you do a thing like that for?
There was going to be no evidence against Chet.
No evidence against Chet.
Or against you.
Have you got any idea what you've done? Only one person had a reason for killing Sally and wanting to kill Bob.
It wasn't Chet.
No, who's talking about him? It was Kay.
Kay?
She thought Bob had invited Sally to make this trip. You saw what she did when she found that handkerchief. But she's not as smart as she thinks. She put on the mad act, but Sally was already dead, and she killed her. But tonight, when she tried to put the blame on me...
Peter, do you know what you're saying?
What she said about me. Only this is the truth. I know it. All Kay wants is money, and I have it. She charmed me away from Sally, made me think she loved me. I fell for her like a ton of saplings. But all she was angling for was money.
But I always thought that Kay was well off.
She hasn't got a dime. For the last 2 months, she's been gambling with my money. And I was going to ask her to marry me. Today. A triple wedding.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
What's the matter with you? Don't you believe me?
No.
All right. Let's form a posse. We'll beat through this boat till we find Kay. And then I'll make her tell the truth about everything, including murder. She's got to be in her cabin, Phyllis. She's nowhere else on this boat.
But she doesn't answer, Peter.
That's just her way of being cute. Well, I'm not waiting. See here, Kay. Oh, no. No!
Just like Sally.
We better get Bob. Remember, Phyllis, you were with me.
Is she dead?
Nobody ever looked like that and wasn't. Come on, let's get Bob.
I think that's all, Mr. Arnold.
Thank you, Dr. Lang. Will you take care of the details? I'm going into the library to join my, friends.
If you want me to make any chemical tests...
I'll call you, or I'll bring the murderer to you. I think we got all the evidence we need.
I hope so, Mr. Arnold.
Yeah.
Bob.
Sit down, Carla. Everybody sit down. Well, Kay's been dead about an hour. Anybody have an alibi? No? Well, that's good, because I don't care about alibis this time. All I want's a show of hands.
Show of hands? What
do you mean, Bob?
I want to see everybody's hands, Chet.
What for?
Have you got any reason not to show me yours?
Well, no. Here, look at him. I just watched him 15 minutes ago.
Both sides, Chet.
Okay. Up. Down. Do I pass?
How about you, Pete?
Well, I don't mind if this is a new way to tell fortunes.
It is. The kind of fortune that ends with, I now pronounce sentence of death. You're next, Phyllis. May I see your hands, please?
All right. I wish I knew why.
Carla,
Yes, Bob.
your hands.
Here. Don't worry. You won't find any blood on mine.
I wasn't looking for blood exactly.
What were you looking for?
I don't understand. Someone in this room is a murderer, a strangler. And Dr. Lang found the evidence that should convict.
What evidence, Bob?
Pieces of skin, Pete, under 2 of Kay's fingernails. She scratched her killer and she... I reach for your neck, Phyllis.
For no reason. I was just going to loosen my scarf.
Why don't you take it off? Isn't it sort of warm in here?
I'll just loosen it.
What are you hiding?
Hey, you got one heck of a nerve. Give her back that scarf.
Okay, Chet, after she explains those 2 scratches on
She
the side
doesn't
of her
have
neck...
to explain anything to
I'm
you.
afraid she does, to all of us. How did you get those scratches on your neck, Phyllis?
Bob, leave her alone.
You got them while you were twisting the cord around Kay's neck, didn't you? She reached up while you were standing behind her and clawed at you, trying to get hold of your hair so she could pull your head down. Isn't that right, Phyllis?
You've got no proof.
So that's what you want. All right. Dr. Lang has the skin that came off that neck. He's ready to make any test he has to.
He's not going to make any test, Bob.
You're licked, Phyllis. That gun can't help you now.
Why doesn't somebody try to take it away from me?
Phyllis. Oh, no.
Yes. Why doesn't somebody try? Because you all want to live. You too, Chet. Even now.
Oh, Phyllis, why did you do it?
I hated them both. But Kay more than Sally because she was going to marry Peter.
What? Are you kidding?
No, Chet. I never loved you. You just pestered me. And I... Did you know I tried to get rid of you, too? I wrote that letter to Sally right after I killed her. And then I fixed everything so that it would be found. That was smart of me, wasn't it?
Phyllis.
Don't be foolish, Bob. Don't come too close. I had everything planned. Kay was going to disappear tonight. And after a while, Peter, you wouldn't have cared. I was going to show you how much I loved you.
Oh, we've got to do something. She'll kill us all.
Sit tight, Pete.
But I made a mistake. And it was just as well. Bob told me to take cabin G. I thought he said D. And there was Sally. Would you like to know what she told me?
Of course, Phyllis.
She said she came on board to take Peter away from Kay. Nobody knew she was there. I promised to keep her confidence. And when she turned round to unpack...
Why did you put her body in my room?
Sally couldn't be dead without being seen, Carla. And your room was so close. Just across the hall.
Well, why did you try to frame me, Phyllis? I never did anything to you.
Didn't you? You kissed me and I hated you. That was a mistake, too. I didn't realize it until I heard Kay talking to Peter, accusing him of the murder. Then I knew that you had no reason to kill Sally. But Peter did. And if I could convince him, the way that Kay was trying to convince him, that he couldn't live without marrying me, I could.
All right, Pete.
Wait! Get the lights on! Somebody get the lights on!
What? Oh, Phyllis.
She's killed herself.
No, Carla. It's just a flesh wound. But she'll never have another chance to kill anybody, including herself.
And so closes tonight's Crime Club book, The Gray Mist Murders, based on a story by Constance and Gwyneth Little. Stedman Coles did the radio adaptation. Roger Bauer produced and directed. Sidney Smith played Robert Arnold. Helen Shields was Phyllis Marsh. Sherling Oliver was Peter Condit. Joan Alexander was Kay Bayless. Elaine Kent played Carla Bray. And Chet Stratton was Chester Gordon. Oh, I beg your pardon. Hello, I hope I haven't kept you waiting. Yes, this is the Crime Club. I'm the librarian. Yes, come over a week from tonight. Good. We have the very exciting story of a portrait in black that became a study in murder. It's called Death Cuts a Silhouette by D.B. Olson. In the meantime? Well, in the meantime, there's a new Crime Club book available this week and every week at bookstores everywhere. Yes, it's available now. Fine. And we look for you next week. One more thing. Cancer strikes on the average 1 of every 2 families. Help strike back. Support the American Cancer Society's programs of research, education, and service. Give generously today.
This program came from New York. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
"77 years ago, April 10th, 1947, The Crime Club here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. More Crime Tomorrow with Mr. District Attorney, starring Jay Jostin from 1951. Orson Welles and the Lives of Harry Lime from 1952. The Mysterious Traveler from 1950. Beyond Tomorrow from 1950. Of course, we will have news from April 11th, 1950. And another episode of Superman. That's all coming up on our next Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But right now, Gangbusters!
Are you suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, an eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem? If it's causing problems at work or with your family, get help now. At Insight Mental Health and Wellness, we help and treat all types of depression and mental issues. We will help you use your insurance to get away from it all, to a beautiful, sunny, and tranquil vacation-like environment, so you can recharge yourself. And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you could take the time off you need from work. Plus, with the Affordable Care Act, your treatment could be 100% covered. If you're suffering from any kind of anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem, use your insurance and get away from it all. Come to sunny California. Call Insight Mental Health and Wellness now.
800-281-8944. 800-281-8944. 800-281-8944. That's 800-281-8944.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues now with an episode of Gangbusters from 76 years ago, April 10th, 1948. 76 years ago, the case of the High School Hotshots.
Now, Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
Gangbusters presents the case of the High School Hotshots, who killed and robbed to buy their girlfriends a good time, but who found that a love letter in the hands of alert detectives could lead the way straight to the electric chair.
Gangbusters has asked the Honorable C.L. Westover, former sheriff of Wayne County, Mississippi, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Sheriff Westover, I know you have a purpose in telling tonight's case.
I have, Don Gardner. As you'll see, I brought a 15-year-old guest to the studio whom we'll hear from later.
Well, then, why don't you start right in, Sheriff?
All right, Don. I think we ought to begin in a small city in Alabama, Maline. At the local bus station one afternoon, the 4 o'clock coach for Mobile was just about ready to pull out. All the passengers were aboard except one, a striking but overly dressed young woman. She was engaged in a prolonged farewell with a handsome youth who appeared to be a few years younger.
All right, now take care of yourself, baby.
Oh, I will, Joe, for you.
Now, if everything goes all right, I ought to be in Mobile by the 1st, and I'll bring you a present. A real present.
Oh, Joe, honey, would you? Oh, goodbye, Joe.
Oh, just a second. Shim, come here, will you?
I've got to hurry, Joe.
Yeah, Joe. What is it? Madge wants to say goodbye to you, Shim.
Oh, thanks.
Goodbye, Shim. You're a nice kid. I hope we can get together again real soon.
Gee, same here.
So long, Madge, baby.
Oh, Joe. Joe.
Go on, they'll leave without you.
Goodbye, Joe. Right.
Have a good trip, Madge.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Sure, Joe. Well, there she goes, huh, Joe?
I'll see her again soon.
Hey, she's waving to you.
Yeah.
Joe, did she really promise she'd fix it up for me with that friend of hers?
I told you she promised, didn't I?
Well, did you ever see her friend? Is she okay?
Isn't Madge okay?
Well, she sure is.
Then so's her friend. Come on, Jim, let's get out of here. I got a lot to show you before we can start thinking about any dames.
Yeah.
You nervous, Jim?
Sure I'm nervous. Weren't you the first time?
Me, I never was nervous. Never in my life. First time was like the last and all of them in between. You go in, you stick a gun on a guy, you get the dough, that's all.
But, Joe, suppose a guy puts up a fight.
Suppose he does. What do you get your gun for?
You mean...
That's what I mean. Now, look, Jim, nobody that's got any sense is gonna argue with you. You got no worries. You just tell the filling station guy you want to use the phone.
I hope it comes off all right.
It will. There's nothing to it. We're really wasting our time with this filling station.
Wasting time? Well, then let's skip it, huh?
Skip it, nothing. The easiest one you can start with, the better off you are. All right, there we are. Now get set. I'm going to pull in.
Look, Joe.
What?
Well, Oh, nothing.
Now just take your time. You'll be all right. I'll go out and do the talking.
Yep. How many, young fellas?
Fill her up, will you, friend? We got a lot of driving to do tonight.
Right. Fill her up. Regular special.
Special. Say, you got a phone in there?
Sure. Help yourself. My partner inside will show you where it is.
Go on, pal. Make your call.
Okay.
Come on. Slide out this side.
Yeah. All right. If you say so.
Go on now. Get going, will you?
Okay. I'll be right out. How's the oil, young fellas?
Oil's okay.
Nice car you got here. Whose is it? Your father's?
Oh, it's my brother's.
Well, that's so. Well, he's got a good one, all right. If I were getting, I'd get one of these. Yes, sir, young fella. Awful nice car.
All right, don't move.
Okay, young fella.
Just keep filling that tank. Just keep filling till this gun's liable to go off. That's it. All right, it's enough gasoline. Screw on the cap. Good. Now drop the hose right there. Go on, drop it. And give me that changer.
What?
Come on, give it here. It's better. Now the bills. Come on, the bills.
Okay.
That's it, thanks.
Okay, I got it all.
Well, take it easy. Get the car started.
Hurry up, will you?
All right, mister. Here's something to keep you quiet. Okay. Now, get moving.
Yeah. How'd I do, Joe? Did I do okay?
You did fair.
Boy, I hope that girl Madge lines up for me is okay. I sure hope so.
Don't worry about the girl now. We gotta ditch this car and get away from here. There's a lot of work to do before we see any girls in Mobile. Hello, Shim.
Where you been, Joe? I'm awful hungry.
Looking over the town. Oh, by the way, if you want to get your suit pressed, there's a good tailor across the way. Just a block us up in the hotel here.
No, it's all right. There's no sense in having anything pressed. Don't look like we're ever getting to Mobile. Come on, let's... Oh, say, I went by the post office. There was a letter for you.
Well, come on, hand it over. What are you waiting for?
It's on the dresser.
Guy's got a letter. You don't even tell him anything about it.
I forgot.
Ah, it's from Madge, all right. Hey, get a load of this perfume.
Yeah, I got a load of it already. See if she says anything about that girl for me.
Cheer up, will you, Shim? You'll have your girl.
Well, I'd sure like to know when.
Soon.
It better be pretty soon. I'm getting awful tired taking dough off guys for nothing.
Now, take it easy, Shim. We're going to get to Mobile a lot sooner than we figured.
No kidding?
No kidding. You know all those turpentine distilleries out in the woods? We saw something drive them in, remember?
What about them?
Well, tomorrow is payday. And all the payrolls are delivered by one guy.
Hey, a payroll's big stuff.
You bet your life it's big. And we're going to get it. They tell me this guy just loves to pick up hitchhikers. Tomorrow he's going to have himself a couple of hitchhikers, us.
But, Joe, if he carries a payroll, he's got a gun for sure.
So we got 2 guns. Just let me handle it. Let me handle it. We'll be in Mobile by Sunday. Now, let's see what Madge has to say.
Yes, sir, it's a mighty lonely job, driving around all day, all by myself. That's why I don't mind giving young chaps like you a lift. Got somebody to talk to.
Somebody to talk to always helps.
Yeah. Hey, you back there. You don't seem to like to do much talking.
Oh, I do lots of talking. When I got something to talk about.
Well, I reckon that's a good idea. Don't talk unless you got something to talk about. Look, boys, my first stop's about a mile or so down. Now, if you want to wait in the car while I run in the turpentine distillery a minute, why, I'll carry you further.
I think your first stop's going to be right here.
What do you mean?
It means he's got a gun on you, mister. You better pull off the road right here.
Oh, so that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. Now get the car off the road and stop.
Okay. Is this all right?
Watch him.
I'll show you.
Oh,
no, you don't.
Oh, you hit him awful hard, Joe.
Yeah, but he's going to get worse. All right, now come on. Push him out this way.
Look, Joe.
Come on, push him, will you? Come on.
Okay.
Oh. Shut up, you.
What are you doing, Joe?
Come on. Into the ditch with him. Let's go.
Okay.
Push.
Watch him. Watch him. Gee, Joe, I think he's hit pretty bad. Let's get out of here.
Wait a minute. This guy'd recognize us anyplace.
You think he would?
If he's dead, he'll never find out about us. We gotta plug him.
Joe, you're kidding.
Stand back there.
Joe.
Shut up. Now watch.
Joe, put that gun away. Let's get out of here.
Quiet.
What'd you have to do it for?
I did it. Let me tell you something. Don't you go getting cold feet. You're as guilty as me. You understand that, don't you?
Honest, I don't know whether all this is worth... Hey, your car.
It's all right. Turn off that crossroads down there. Come on, let's get out of here. Go on, get in. Get in. We'll ditch the car and then travel. We got a lot of dough to travel on now.
And so, Don, the inevitable murder occurred. The two young criminals fled the scene in the murdered man's automobile. But they had no idea how quickly a shiny button and a parcel post package could tell investigating officers exactly what they wanted to know.
Now, back to Gangbusters. You were telling us, Sheriff Westover, that the young criminals Joe Lehman and Maurice Shimmick had murdered payroll messenger Tom Boykin in Wayne County, Mississippi, then drove off in their victim's car with the loot.
That's right, Don, but it wasn't long before the crime was discovered. It was obvious that the murder had been committed to obtain the payroll, and immediate investigation was started. As soon as I returned to my office from the scene of the crime, I phoned the police department at Meridian, Mississippi. There was a man there I knew might be of great help on the case, Detective Tom Harbour, one of the most famous homicide investigators in the South.
And the car hasn't shown up anyplace, Sheriff?
Not yet, Harbour, but I don't imagine they'll stay with it long. They'll be smart enough to know we've got alarms out all over.
Looks as if we're after a bad pair, Sheriff. Is there anything to go on?
Well, yes. Joe Henry, the game warden, happened to be passing by the scene. He saw the car parked there and these two boys walking toward it.
Did he get a good look at the boys?
No, not a very good look. The only thing he noticed was that one of them was tall, had on a bright blue sports coat, and it must have had brass buttons.
That's so.
Yes, you see, the buttons were reflecting in the sun as the game warden drove past the crossroads. They must have been brass or silver or some such metal.
That's interesting.
I was wondering, Harbour, do you reckon if I spoke to your chief over there, you could get assigned to help us out for a while on this case?
Tell you what I'll do, Sheriff. I'll speak to Chief myself. I'm sure it'll be okay. If it is, I'll drive right over and get to work with you.
Go on, Shim. Drink your beer. Stop worrying all the time, will you?
You talk like we got nothing to worry about. After all, we killed the guy.
For crying out loud, keep it down.
Okay. Gee, I didn't want this kind of trouble. All I wanted was a girl and some fun.
You got no trouble. That was in Mississippi. We're in Georgia. It's like another world.
Maybe. But you still should have done like I said. You should have thrown a gun in a river someplace instead of sending it to her.
And I'd need that gun again soon.
Gee, it don't seem safe to me. We should have buried it with that payroll money.
Hey.
What's the matter with you, Joe? Let go, will you? Let
you
go.
hitting Madge can't be trusted.
No, let go, please.
Wasn't hinting nothing.
All right, then. Remember this. Maybe I pulled the trigger. But you can get just as much as me, just as much. If I pick us up, keep your mouth shut and we'll be okay.
Well, Sheriff, I think I've rounded up a pretty good description of those boys from people who saw them around town.
We'll need a pretty good one, Harbour. We've located the car.
Oh?
Yes, back in the woods near McLean. Not a good print on it anyplace, though. Nothing.
Well, didn't expect to pick them up in the car. That was too much to hope for.
Yes, I know it was, but you still hope anyway. Now, what about those descriptions, Harbour?
You know, Sheriff, the only thing we had to go on was a bright blue sport coat with brass or silver buttons. The one the game warden saw on the fella getting into Tom Boykin's car.
And that's not much.
Well, I figured maybe the boy wearing that jacket brought it in for cleaning or something.
And he did?
Yes. The third tailor shop I visited.
Mm-hmm.
A young fellow was in, had a jacket just like that pressed.
Well.
I got a pretty good description of him. Taylor remembered him perfectly. He asked about a good place to eat in town. Taylor recommended Mrs. Hudson's, and the two of them ate there that night.
Good work, Harbour.
And Mrs. Hudson gave me a pretty good idea what the other one looks like.
Well, that's fine, Harbour, fine. But one thing has been bothering me. You know, there is an awful good chance these might not be the two boys who killed Boykin.
I know it.
After all, the game warden saw them from a distance and only for a moment.
Well, they're the most likely suspects. So, suppose we get out descriptions of these two to every law enforcement agency in the South. Maybe someone can put his hands on them for us.
The Chief of Police, LaGrange, Georgia, to the Sheriff, Wayne County, Mississippi, holding two young men, giving names Joseph Lehman and Maurice Shimmick. Answer description, wanted circular reaching here. Both admit presence in Waynesboro, approximate date, but deny any part of murder. No evidence to contrary. Advised.
From Sheriff, Wayne County, Mississippi, to Chief of Police, LaGrange, Georgia, all suspects leaving immediately for your city.
What's the matter, Detective Harbour? You don't look like my answers make you happy.
I don't, Joe. You still haven't given me a good reason for your visiting Waynesboro. Particularly visiting Waynesboro on the day Tom Boykin was held up and murdered.
Look, you keep bringing that up. I keep telling you we had nothing to do with it.
Then why were you in Waynesboro?
We were traveling all over. We just happened to be there. You can ask Shim.
Well, thanks for the suggestion, but the sheriff's in there asking him now.
Listen, since when is it a crime to visit someplace?
Well, visiting isn't any crime. Come on with me.
Where?
In the... Oh. You're sure this is your sport jacket?
Of course I'm sure.
You're positive you didn't steal it from anyone?
I bought it. I bought it at the famous in Maylene, Alabama. I can prove it.
Well, as long as you can prove it.
Look, when are you going to let us go? We didn't do a thing. I tell you, not a thing.
Come on.
It won't do you any good to lie, son.
I'm not lying. We didn't kill anybody, Sheriff. We didn't do a thing wrong.
Hello, Shim. Don't let these policemen scare you.
I'm not scared, Joe. Why should I be scared? I didn't do anything.
That's the way.
And neither of you have to be frightened.
Now, look, we know you got a job to do, Sheriff.
Yeah, no hard feelings.
That's the right attitude, boys.
But when do we get out?
That's a question.
What do you mean it's a question? You got no right to hold us if we're innocent.
Well, we could start extradition proceedings, take you back to Mississippi.
Well, why don't you?
We will if we have to.
What do you mean, if you have to?
Exactly this, boys. If you'll agree to come back to Waynesboro with us, we promise not to put you in jail until we get this thing cleared up.
Why should we?
Well, you were interested in seeing this thing straightened out, aren't you?
Well, look, it's your job to straighten it out, not mine. We didn't kill anybody. We won't go back with you. Why should we?
What do you mean you won't put us in jail? Where will you put us?
We'll get you a room at the hotel with a deputy to keep you company.
Company? Huh.
But, on the other hand, we can start extradition proceedings right away, and chances are we'll get you anyway. In that case, it'll have to be jail.
You mean that about the hotel?
Yes.
All right, we'll go back with you.
Joe.
Why not? They'll put us up in a hotel.
Gee, I don't know.
Why should we take the chance of laying out in jail? We can live like kings in a hotel. The week of 10 days will be out. We didn't do nothing.
Okay, Joe. If you think it's best.
All right, Mr. Harbour. We'd like to see that you get this thing cleared up. We'll go back with you. That is, if you give me your word about the hotel.
Sheriff, you have my word. You two can stay at the hotel. We won't put anybody in jail until we're positive who the murderers are.
Now back to Gangbusters.
Yes?
Good evening.
What is it?
You're Madge Thomas?
That's right.
My name's Tom Harbour. I'm with the Meridian, Mississippi Police Department.
Meridian, Mississippi.
Yes, I came all the way to Mobile to see you. May I come in?
Okay, if you want.
Thanks.
What did you want to see me about?
I believe you're acquainted with a young man named Joe Lehman.
Joe Lehman? Well, no, I don't think so.
You're the only Madge Thomas at this address?
As far as I know.
And this is your handwriting?
Well,
Is it or isn't it?
yes, it is.
It's quite a torrid love letter you wrote to Joe Lehman, a young man you don't even know.
All right, I know him. I know lots of men. His name just slipped my mind for a minute.
I can imagine. Joe wouldn't like to hear that. Sure, he thinks a lot of you. You know, he thinks so much of you, he had that letter sewn in the lining of his jacket just to keep it close.
I can't help what he thinks of me. I barely know him. He's just a kid.
What's that in there? Kitchen?
Yes, it's the kitchen. What do you want with me?
The letter said your last received, darling, and the package came a few days later. What package?
Say, what's this all about, anyway?
I'll tell you what it's all about. You're Joe and another young fellow suspected of committing murder.
Murder?
Yes, and robbery. I want to see what was in that package he sent you.
It wasn't anything, only a present. He sends me presents all the time. All the time.
That may be so, but if what I think is in that package, you can be held as an accessory after the fact.
Me?
That's who I'm talking about. You can go to the penitentiary.
Oh, no.
And there's no beauty parlors, no silk stockings, and no men.
Look, it was a gun in the package. I didn't know what it was for.
Where is it?
He just said keep it.
Where's the gun?
It's right over here. Right here.
Get it.
There it is in the drawer. I haven't touched it since it came. I didn't know what it was for, honest.
Well, that's to be determined.
I'll cooperate. I'll do anything.
All right, you can start cooperating right now. There's a train back in an hour. We'll be on it.
For crying out loud, Shim, will you light someplace?
Oh, okay.
Back and forth. Will you be like me? Relax. We got a few days in the hotel. The county's paying the bills. Take it easy. Enjoy it.
What do you think they're finding out? What do you suppose?
Shut up, will you? How many times do I have to tell you they might have the joint wired?
Oh, who cares?
Where's your guts? They haven't got a thing on us. Can't hold us much longer. They gotta let us go.
When they take that deputy away from the door, I'll believe it. Until then, no.
Just stick it out. All right, now quiet. Come in.
Hello, boys.
Hello, Mr. Harbour. Sheriff?
Well, the sheriff and I have some news for you.
No kidding.
That's right.
Oh, you see, Shim, I told you everything would be all right. They're not going to hold us in the hotel anymore, are you?
Is that right?
That's right.
Well, we tried to help you out, Sheriff, but you know we didn't have anything to do with that killing.
No, we didn't, really.
All right, boys. Get your things together.
Well, it's kind of late today. I think we'll stay in the room tonight. We'll be on our way tomorrow, huh? That's okay with you?
I'm afraid it's not okay with us. We're moving you over to the county jail.
The county jail?
Hey, what's the matter? What happened?
We located your girlfriend, Madge, and we located the murder gun.
Oh, no.
Shut up, Shim. It's a stall. You didn't locate a thing. You're trying to trick us.
No trick. We've got Madge at the sheriff's office. You can see your gun with your own eyes. You can see how a bullet taken from it compares with the bullets taken from Tom Boykin's body. Now get your things together and make it snappy. You're changing accommodations.
Well, that, Don, was how the case was finally closed. Joseph Lehman and Maurice Shimmick, who thought they were smart enough to get away with robbery and murder, were convicted by a Wayne County jury, and both were electrocuted in the state of Mississippi.
Well, Sheriff Westover, you brought a special guest to our Gangbuster studio tonight.
Yes, Don, and he's here for a very important reason. He's 15-year-old Edward Michel, specially sent to our Gangbusters program tonight as the representative of the Madison Square Boys Club of New York. Meet Don Gardner, Eddie.
Hello, Mr. Gardner.
Well, hello, Eddie. I understand that you, speaking for the Madison Square Boys Club, which is a member of the Boys Club of America, have something very important to tell our Gangbusters listeners. So go right ahead, Eddie.
Thanks, Mr. Gardner. We fellows of the Madison Square Boys Club like gangbusters. We know what gangbusters shows is the truth. Crime is wrong. No matter how smart they think they are, criminals always get caught. Most American fellows are law-abiding and straight, and if those two fellows we heard about tonight had been members of a boys' club, chances are they would have been all right, too. Fellows who belong to boys' clubs know that trying to get fast, easy money only leads to trouble, and they're glad that gangbusters is showing people, especially young fellows, how wrong and how dumb crime is.
Well, thank you, Eddie Michelle, for coming here tonight and bringing our Gangbusters listeners this message from your boys' club. And thank you, Sheriff Westover, for a most significant case. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by William Sweets, with Bob Reddick and Alan Stevenson in leading roles. Don Gardner speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
From 76 years ago, April 10th, 1948, Gangbusters here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're going to move up considerably to 64 years ago for a 1960 episode of Suspense and a two-horse parlay. That's coming up next.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-932-1431. 800-932-1431. That's 800-932-1431. Paid for by the Tax Helpline.
We continue here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with a 1960 episode of Suspense near the end of the series. One of the last shows in old-time radio. This episode from April 10th, 1960, 64 years ago, is entitled Two-Horse Parlay.
And now, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
In just a moment, Two-Horse Parlay, written especially for Suspense by Walter Black.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Winston gives you real flavorful, rich tobacco flavor. Winston's easy drawing too. The flavor comes right through to you. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
A modern filter? Sure, Winston has it. But that's only the beginning of a Winston. Up front, up where it really counts, Winston packs exclusive filter blend. Light, flavorful tobaccos, specially selected and specially processed for filter smoking. Filter blend. That's why it's fun to smoke Winston, America's best-selling filter cigarette.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Yeah. It's me, Porco, Johnny Sheldon.
Hello, Johnny boy.
Your stooge tells me my credit's no good.
He tells it right, kid.
All right, so I'm a little behind.
You and me got different ideas about what's little. To me, $4,000 is very big.
Porco, I'm good for it. Look, I got a sure thing in the fifth at Belmont, 8-1. Lend me $500 and you have your money back.
If the nag wins. With your luck, she'll finish last. Anyway, there ain't gonna be any more bets, kid, not until we straighten out this $4,000. You see, I don't own this joint. I just run it for some very big businessmen, you understand? They, like to get paid on time.
I've always paid before.
Chicken feed. You've been losing heavy the past couple of weeks, and my bosses ain't happy with me for letting you get in so deep. And they especially ain't happy with you.
So let them sue me.
Oh, you better watch your lip, little man. Either we get that $4,000 or you get a real fancy working over.
All right. Can I use your phone?
Be my guest. I'll listen in if you don't mind. What are you dialing?
Long distance.
Goes on your bill.
Operator, I want Chicago. Diversey 27161. Yes, I'll wait.
Who's in Chicago?
My aunt.
She been footing your bills?
Yeah.
Wondered where your bankroll came from.
Yeah, she thinks I'm in New York to attend the conservatory. All right, don't look like that. When I was a kid, she wanted me to be a pianist. Never let up on me.
You any good?
Well, she thought I was. I never wanted any part of it, but when she suggested I come east to study, I took her up on it.
And she thinks you've been studying all this time?
Yes.
She gonna hold still for a $4,000 bite?
I have an angle. Hello?
Who's this?
It's me, Aunt Mita. Johnny.
For goodness sake. John, is anything wrong?
No, I'm just excited, that's all. I have some terrific news for you.
Are you sure you're all right, dear?
Yeah, listen, Aunt Mita, you've heard of Arthur Rogowski, that fabulous teacher in Paris?
Yes, dear. Why? Is he in New York?
Well, not now, but he was. And he heard me play, and he's offered to let me study with him. It's the opportunity I've been waiting for. He almost never takes students anymore. Well, it would really put the finishing touches to my training, you know? And the only thing is, he wants me to join him in 2 weeks. And, well, he's very expensive.
How expensive, John?
Well, with plane fare, tourist class, and bare living expenses for 6 months, it's going to come to over $6,000.
You're quite an operator, kid.
John, dear, I guess you haven't received my letter yet.
What letter?
I'm lonesome, dear. I want you to come home. After all, I spent a considerable amount of money on your training already. Isn't it natural? I'd want to hear the results.
Well, if I can just have this 6 months with Rogowski, I'd have the polish I need.
It's been over 2 years, John. I think you progressed enough so that you could at least play for me.
Well, sure, Aunt Mita. I could send you a record.
I'm lonesome, my boy. I'd like to be with you.
But this is the opportunity of a lifetime.
Mr. Rogowski can wait a few more weeks, John. Don't you feel you owe me this much?
Well, yes, of course.
I'll send you the plane fare, dear. I'll expect you by Friday.
But, Aunt Mita, if you'd only... Yeah, she hung up.
Now what?
You tell me.
Okay. Fly back to Chicago, play her a tune, and get the dough.
I don't play well enough. She'd never fall for it.
Well, you figure something out. You got 4 weeks.
I could just get somebody to play for
She don't want no record. She said so.
Oh, no, I mean go back with me. You see, she's blind. She wouldn't know the difference.
Well, okay, hire somebody. Or, better yet, what about that good-looking girlfriend of yours?
No.
Well, now, don't she play piano in that club
I
over
can't
on
drag her into this. I wouldn't.
You ain't got any choice, Johnny boy.
So that's it, honey. Now you know everything there is to know about me. Makes a lovely picture, doesn't it?
Oh, I knew you were betting, but $4,000, Johnny. How'd you ever get in so deep?
Well, honey, you lose some, you figure you'll make it back in the next race. It just keeps building. And besides, what's the difference how? I'm in a spot, and Aunt Mita's the only one who can help get me out.
I'm not good enough to make your aunt think I've been studying classical piano for 2 years.
You were once, Eve. All it'll take is a little practice, and we have until Friday.
Oh, she'd know, Johnny. Even if she is blind, she'd know.
How? Honey, I take you back with me, introduce you as my fiancée. Then when she asks me to play, you sit down and start in. It'll be over quick, honey. Now listen, then I'll be able to pay Porco off.
Yeah.
Now, you'd like me to stop playing the horses, wouldn't you?
All right, Johnny, I'll go with you. I'll play for your aunt.
In just a moment, we will return for the second act of Suspense.
Bye, Joan. I'm heading for the ballpark. I'm late now.
Gil Hodges,
Look at the list of errands you've left for me to do again, and I'm so busy with spring cleaning.
I know, but it's spring cleaning time for the car, too. So please be sure to get the motor oil changed in the car and get a fresh Fram filter, too, honey.
A fresh Fram filter, Gil? What for?
To keep the oil clean. Dirt and sludge can ruin an engine. Nothing fills motor oil with sludge faster than the short runs you make, shopping and taxiing the children to school. Just take the car in and ask for a Fram.
A Fram? How will they know what I mean?
They'll know. More service stations sell Fram filters than any other brand. Nothing keeps oil clean like a Fram filter.
The Dodgers' popular first baseman, Gil Hodges, sure knows his filters. He knows how important it is to change oil filters at least every 5,000 miles. It's Fram for him, for you too. Fram filters.
Well, here you are, driver. Well, welcome to the old homestead, Eve.
She lives here all alone?
That's the way she wants it, honey. Come on.
Johnny.
Huh?
Well, couldn't we... do we have
to fool her?
Yeah.
No, honey. We can tell her the truth, then she'll throw me out and we can go back to New York and face Brother Porco.
Oh, but isn't there some other way?
Honey, you think I haven't tried to think of one? I'm not proud of what I've done or what I am, Eve, but face it, life is a jungle. It's eat or be eaten. And my instinct for self-preservation is very, very strong.
But maybe she'd understand.
Well, here we are, Aunt Mita. And gosh, it's good to be home.
I'm so glad John brought you back home with him, Eve. I've worried about him for so long. It's nice to know he isn't alone.
Well, Eve's my fiancée, Aunt Mita, not my nurse.
Sometimes with men, it's the same thing, dear. Isn't that right, Eve?
I guess so.
You sound nervous, dear. You certainly don't have to be on my account.
Well, now, Aunt Mita, she wasn't sure that you'd approve of her.
Heavens, what a thought. Not approve of such a fine and lovely young lady.
Yeah, now, there, what did I tell you, Eve? Aunt Mita can tell more without seeing than most people can with.
I'm looking so forward to hearing you play, John.
Yeah, well, later, Aunt Mita. We're kind of dragged out from the plane ride, you know?
Of course. It can wait until after dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Come along, Eve. I'll show you to your room. Sometimes I was afraid I was being too insistent about John's practicing, and yet, look how it's paid off.
Yes, sir. Look how it's paid off.
Sounds like one of those modern composers.
Huh? Oh, Dr. Hanna. Well, say, I didn't know you were there.
I let myself in. Privilege of long acquaintance. How are you, John?
Fine, thank you. How are you, Doctor?
How have you been? Keeping well?
Oh, sure, why not?
You look a little pale.
Oh?
Not enough sun, eh?
Well, I guess I have been sticking pretty close to the piano.
Of course.
Say, excuse my asking, Doctor, but you're here to see Aunt Mita, aren't you?
That, and I heard you were coming home today. I'd already planned to give her a checkup, so I guess you'd call it combining business with pleasure.
I see.
After all, I haven't seen you in some time.
How is she? I mean, how's her heart?
Well, John, so far, what's the saying? Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
Why borrow trouble? Let's hope we can both keep your aunt well and happy. No excuses, Mita. One capsule after every meal and one at bedtime. Is that understood?
All I want is a straight answer, Martin. How am I?
How do you feel?
Perfectly fit.
Then that's how you are. Now, take your nap, and I'll see you in a few days.
Is she, Doctor? Perfectly fit?
Well, she's not a young woman, John, of course, but with the proper attention, there's no reason why she can't live for a long time to come.
I see.
As long as no one does anything to upset her. Mm-hmm. Now, incidentally, how long since your last checkup?
Oh, I haven't any idea. Why?
Probably not since the last one I gave you before you left for New York.
Yes, I guess that's right.
How about one now, while I'm here?
Well, what for? There's nothing wrong with me.
Fine. It'll only take a few minutes, John, and it'll make your aunt feel better.
Oh, well, okay, Doctor.
Let's go into the study.
Well, Doctor, what's your prognosis?
The same one I gave your aunt.
Mm-hmm.
With care, there's no reason why you can't live for a long time to come.
Yeah, well, how long is a long time?
I left my crystal ball in the office, John. How long do you want it to be? Forever?
Oh, no, sir. Just until I'm 92.
In that case, get plenty of rest.
Yeah?
Cut down on your smoking and starchy foods, and go to bed every night at 9:30. Well, I'll be getting along. Take care of yourself, son.
Yes, you too, Doctor.
And remember, a little fresh air and some rest never hurt anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spend all your time at the piano.
Yeah, I'll try not to. So long.
Good luck, son. Don't bother seeing me out. Oh, goodbye, Miss Wickham. Nice to have met you.
Nice to have met you. Do you have to leave?
Afraid so. Take care of our boy.
Eve. What's the idea? Ask him if he had to leave. You sound as if you want him to stay.
I did. I don't want to go through with this, Johnny.
Well, then we won't.
Well, do we have to?
You know the alternative. Now, look, hadn't you better get in a little practice before she comes down to dinner?
I suppose so.
Oh, come on. Now, why not use that Chopin piece you used to play for me? It's one of his easier ones.
Anything you say.
Well, what are you waiting for?
A miracle, I guess.
Well, Aunt Mita?
I don't know what to say.
Oh. You mean it was that bad?
Oh, no, dear. It was beautiful. You have a surprisingly light, delicate touch.
Yeah, well, a combination of what Chopin demands and my years of practicing.
Did you like it, Eve?
Yes.
You're ready, John.
I'm ready. Well, what do you mean?
I'm going to make arrangements for you to make your concert debut here in Chicago.
After the European study, you mean?
No, dear, now. I've talked with Emil Stock. He'll listen to you if I think you're ready.
But
and I do. You can play for him next week.
I'm not that ready, Aunt Mita. I need the polish that Rogowski can give me.
Emil Stock's the finest judge of talent in the city, John. It's a tremendous opportunity.
Aunt Mita...
I'm tired now. I'm going to bed.
Well, that does it.
Oh, we can get along without the money, Johnny.
Maybe we can, honey, but Porco's Syndicate can't.
Well, John, this is an unexpected pleasure.
Dr. Hanna, can you give me a few minutes?
It'll have to be a very few minutes. My next patient's due now. What is it?
Well, it's Aunt Mita. I'm concerned about her health. Now, please, doctor, tell me the truth. How is her heart?
Considering her age?
Yeah.
In very good shape.
Well, that's not saying anything.
I can't give you an exact prognosis, John. I'd be a charlatan if I did.
Yeah, but isn't there anything you can do for her?
I'm doing all I can.
Which is exactly nothing.
No. I'm prescribing drugs. I recommend rest and quiet.
And then you sit back and wait for your patient to die, huh?
Thousands of people, John, die from heart attacks every year who never had a heart history at all. It could happen to you or me.
We're discussing Aunt Mita, doctor. Could it happen to her?
Well, of course it could.
I suppose any sudden shock would be bad, wouldn't it? I mean, what can I do to help?
Now you've hit on it, son. take care of yourself. That'll help your aunt more than anything else. Don't give her any cause to worry about you. You see, John, you mean everything to her.
Well, all it boils down to is she's got a bad heart, and she could die tomorrow, or live another 10 years. Every time I think of that porco waiting for his money, I get scared to death. Scared to death. That's what I want her to be. Not me. If people do get scared to death, what have I got to lose? All right, it's either you or her, Johnny boy, and it sure isn't going to be you. Scared to death. Ah, the knife on my keychain. Cold steel against the soft part of her throat.
Who is it? Who's there? Is that you, John? Why are you keeping quiet? I'm not asleep. Eve? Is it you, dear?
I never realized before how small she really is. How helpless. Defenseless.
I can't smell any perfume. It's you, John, isn't it? Please, dear, don't stand there like that. What's the matter? Please, John, say something.
Oh, why can't you just die, Admita, so that I can live?
Johnny!
What? Eve! Eve, I can't breathe. Oh!
You've been at the piano almost 2 hours. Don't you think that's enough?
Okay. What do we do instead? Go dancing? Bowling? Long walk along the lakefront? It's crazy, isn't it? 3 weeks in the hospital and another 2 weeks back here, and I still can't get used to it. All along, I figured it was her heart that was weak. And all along, she was protecting me. Well, Aunt Mita's really got her wish now. All I can do now is play the piano. One thing I never wanted is the only thing I got left.
Oh, there you are, you two. How are you feeling, dear?
Oh, I'm all right.
Now, don't you forget you're supposed to lie down at 5 o'clock.
No, I won't forget.
Now, you mustn't be depressed, dear. Hundreds of thousands of people learn to live with their ailments.
Mm-hmm.
Your whole life's ahead of you.
I'm afraid not, Aunt Mita. You know, it just might be over.
Oh, you mean about the gambling debt? I've known about your gambling from the beginning, and Eve's told me about this man. If I pay Mr. Porco what you owe him, John, will you...
Will I pay you back? Sure. Aunt Mita, $1 down and $1 a week.
You didn't let me finish. Will you promise to practice and study your piano?
Johnny?
You're heaping coals of fire on my head, Aunt Mita.
Oh, no, child. Quite the reverse. You see, ever since your attack, I blame myself. If I hadn't sounded so frightened, you wouldn't have been so startled when Eva came in the room. And after all, what did I have to be frightened about? What could I have possibly had to fear from you people?
Suspense.
You've been listening to Horse Parlay, written for Suspense by Walter Black. In a moment, the names of our players and a word about next week's story of Suspense.
Are you out of tune due to irregularity? Then help yourself get back in tune with Kellogg's All Brand. Pleasant, isn't it? The feeling of well-being you get when constipation from lack of bulk is no longer a worry. When harsh, irritating drug laxatives can be thrown away. Because Kellogg's All Brand is the normal, natural way to regularity. Its whole brand content gentles away constipation, supplies your system with the bulk-forming food you need for youthful regularity. And it tastes good, too. Fact is, Kellogg's All Brand is the one and only whole brand cereal that combines proved effectiveness with appetizing taste and crispness. So if you're out of tune, help yourself get back in tune as millions do with Kellogg's All Brand. ALL-BRAN. Kellogg's All Brand.
Heard in tonight's story were Jane Rose as Aunt Meta, Ellen McRae as Eve, Lyle Sudrow as Johnny, and Larry Haynes as Porco. Listen again next week when we return with Tonight at 5:55 by George Bamber, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. The latest news follows, then Have Gun Will Travel on CBS Radio.
And we believe that audio came from a gentleman by the name of Mr. Pat Rispol. He lived in the WROW Albany area in the years. He died at just 53 years of age in 1979. His home recordings in the late 50s and 60s, the reason that many years truly Johnny Dollar, Gunsmoke, and Suspense survived from that area. Also, he recorded New York baseball games. He was an avid hi-fi person, I guess. You know, back in that era, the people who had the nice reel-to-reel tape recorders and such. And because of that, and because he was very careful about that, we have a lot of shows. We have... In fact, we have, and I don't know if I've done it, we did a whole series last year around November. In fact, it was on November 17th last year. We did a whole series of shows. It was last year or the year before, of shows from WROW that included the FBI in Peace and War, Gunsmoke, Rosemary Clooney, and a show called Indictment. A lot of that stuff we did thanks to this fella, Pat Rispol, and we salute him. He passed, as I said, in 1979 at the age of 53. Coming up next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Brian Donlevy stars in an episode he brought to NBC, Dangerous Assignment.
There's an expression that goes, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. And that's a very good expression to keep in mind now that income tax time is coming along. This year, there are approximately 58 million Americans who will be required to file federal income tax returns with the Bureau of Internal Revenue. First of all, there may be some doubt in your mind as to whether you file an income tax return or not. Well, everyone, regardless of age, who had an income of $600 or more during the past year is required by law to file an income tax return before March the 15th. Here are a couple of other points that may help you. Be sure your return is complete and accurate, and be sure you sign it. If it's a joint return, be sure the taxpayer and his wife both sign their names. And most important of all, be sure to file your income tax return early. If you're entitled to a refund, you'll receive it a lot sooner. Remember, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today, especially you taxpayers.
And Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues now. Brian Donlevy in Dangerous Assignment. This show goes back 74 years to April 10th, 1950, as Steve Mitchell goes searching for pirate loot.
Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell.
Hi, Commissioner.
Steve, have a seat.
Thanks. I suppose you know you're ruining my reputation around this town. Every time I get out on a date, you haul me back here to the office and send me halfway around the world.
Cheer up, Steve. They always keep a light burning in the window for you, don't they?
Yeah, but if you're gone too long, that fire can die out, you know.
Steve, ever have on a diving suit?
Diving suit? Why, yeah, once.
You're leaving for the Caribbean on the next plane. Your destination is Trinidad.
I'm going to fly to Trinidad in a diving suit?
You're going hunting for pirate treasure, Steve. There's no time now to go into the background. Go to Trinidad and show up in dungarees at the Trade Winds Bar. You'll be contacted there, and the contact will fill you in on the deal.
Just a minute. Part of the deal doesn't by any chance involve getting into a diving suit, does it?
It might. Steve, this is a vital job. We're depending on you right down the line. Well, that's it. You've got your assignment. Good luck.
In a moment, tonight's story of Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell, colorful, two-fisted government agent. But first, a message from the Ford dealers of America.
The 1950 Ford has everyone talking. Here is what Mr. R.L. Bell of Georgia, one of more than 410,000 enthusiastic owners, said about his 50 Ford.
I've had my new Ford Club Coupe for 6 weeks and have driven it 6,700 miles. This operation was over all types of roads and under varying weather conditions, from Key West to the Great Smokies. It holds the road better than any car I've ever driven. And in 19 years of traveling, I've owned 8 makes of cars. For my money, it has more comfort than any low-price car on the market. My car is equipped with overdrive, and up to now, my gasoline mileage average has been 21 3/10 miles per gallon.
Yes, Ford owners everywhere are finding out about the economy of the great new Ford. They're saving real money now because of Ford's low price. And they'll be saving real money for years to come because of Ford's low operating and maintenance cost. But see for yourself. Tomorrow, stop by your neighborhood Ford dealers. Get the facts on Ford economy. Then take the wheel and test drive the big new Ford.
Well, this assignment tops them all. Usually I have at least an inkling of what I'm supposed to do, but here I am heading for Trinidad, and all I know is I'm supposed to meet a guy in the Trade Winds Bar. It's a hot Tuesday afternoon when I get to Trinidad. I change into dungarees at the hotel and head for the Trade Winds Bar. It's a real keen joint. A bunch of rickety tables, a calypso singer, a battered-looking bar with a drunk sprawled on it, and behind the bar, a fat gent in a dirty apron.
All right, name it, brother.
Beer.
Coming up. Hey, sailor, aren't you?
Yeah, but out of a job right now. Just drifting.
Bartender! Hey, bartender! Oh, I'm coming.
Hey, mister.
Huh?
Buy me a drink, will you?
You look like you've had too much already. You better go back to... Hey, wait a minute. Joe Wilkins.
Yeah.
Commissioner told me I'd be contacted here, but he didn't mention you.
I've been working on this case for 6 months now.
Oh.
I've managed to establish an enviable reputation as the leading drunk in Trinidad. Oh, my poor liver.
What's the deal?
Underwater demolition. You know what a job it did for us during the war, Steve?
Yeah, the Navy frogmen.
Yeah. Well, about 6 months ago, a group of civilians with government cooperation developed a revolutionary new explosive technique.
Mm-hmm.
They came down here, rented a boat, and made their tests. We're sure of that much because they radioed in that they were on their way back, and that's the last we ever heard from them.
What happened?
We don't know. Boat apparently sank.
Any survivors?
One. Deckhand named Griggs. He disappeared before I could get down here. It's either one of two things, Steve. Griggs got away with the data they compiled, or else it's at the bottom of the Caribbean.
You know, if that falls into the wrong hands, none of our ports and harbors would be safe. You got any line on Griggs?
Not until 3 days ago. And Griggs popped up here in Trinidad looking real prosperous, throwing dough around.
Well, maybe he sold the plan.
I don't think so, Steve. He started outfitting a treasure hunting expedition. His outfit is shoving off tomorrow on a little boat called the Sea Witch. I've been trying to get a job on it.
Hey, you could be walking into a lot of trouble.
Steve, see that babe over there in the corner table alone?
Yeah. What about her?
It's Griggs' girlfriend. I can't get any information from her. I think she likes the more of your size.
Okay. I'll give it a try. See you later. Hi.
What do you want?
To buy you a drink.
Why not?
Matter of fact, I'll buy you 2 drinks.
And then what?
Then we quit drinking. I'll be broke.
Oh? Having it tough, huh?
Yeah. It's pretty hard for a diver to get a job these days.
A diver? Oh, why don't you get lost?
What's the matter? Don't you like divers?
Oh, sure, but they're never around. I know. I go with a guy who is a diver. Griggs.
Oh. Hey, maybe this friend of yours, Griggs, could get me a job.
I don't think so. It's some kind of a treasure hunting business.
Teresa, button your lip.
Hello, Griggs.
Who's this joker?
A guy who is kind enough to buy me a drink.
Shove off, bud.
Now, don't you think that's up to Teresa?
You heard me get lost.
Oh, sit down, Griggs, and quit showing your muscles. And, mister, maybe you'd better sort of...
Okay, sure. Well, see you around.
Maybe we can have that drink some other time.
Yeah? There won't be any other time. You keep your eyes to yourself after this and don't get any
How did you make out, Steve?
Not so hot. The boyfriend showed up too soon.
Yeah. Well, I sure wish we could get some.
What's the matter?
A little gent who just came in, the one in the white suit.
Yeah, what about him?
His name's Jeremiah. You'll hear all about him in a second. Byron's tuning up right now.
Lord Byron?
Yeah, it's the calypso singer over there. Listen.
Oh, Jeremiah is a fine man, he, the best man in all Trinidad colony. He's a good friend of sailors whose luck's very bad. The best man in colony Trinidad. Wristwatch, a ring, or a curio. For this Jeremiah will lend much dough. He will find you a job for a modest fee, the savior of suffering humanity. He saves the sailors from a cold, cruel fate and charges a very low interest rate. Oh, Jeremiah is a fine man, he, the best man in Trinidad colony.
And now you know who Jeremiah is.
Yeah. Hey, he just slipped that calypso singer some dough.
Sure, that's the deal.
Well, what do you know? Singing commercials in Trinidad yet. Wait a minute. That song said something about getting jobs for sailors.
Sure, that's right. That's the angle I'm working on with him.
You mean you're trying to get him to put you aboard the boat Griggs is sailing on?
Yeah. Oh, watch it, Steve. Jeremiah's heading this way.
Oh, Joe.
Huh?
Joe.
Oh, hello, Jeremiah.
How can I help you start a new life if you spend all the money I'd lend you on cheap whiskey?
Well, I tried, Jeremiah. You know how it is.
You must be firm, Joe. You must turn over a new leaf.
No.
The ways of sin lead but to the grave or the drunk tank. And then how could I ever get back all the money I've invested in you? Work. That is the answer for you, Joe. Work.
Yeah. Nobody'll give me a job.
That's not true any longer, Joe. I have gotten you a job.
Huh?
On the Sea Witch. You sail tomorrow morning.
Hey, you kidding me?
Of course not. Joe, I see in you a noble man who has been corrupted by evil companions and unfortunate experiences. I believe in you, Joe. I believe that you will straighten out and take your rightful place in the world. So, I have gotten you a job to help you.
That's pretty nice of you, Jeremiah.
It was not easy, mind you. It is a small boat with a small crew, some sort of treasure hunting expedition, I believe. Now, just sign this little slip of paper, if you will, please.
What is it?
Well, the customary agreement, which gives me a small percentage of your wages in return for the trouble I've gone to on your account.
Hey, you call 20% small?
Why, Joe, after all I've done for you, how can you quibble about such a trifling amount?
Okay, Jeremiah, I'll sign it.
Just Give the skipper this card, Joe. That will identify you.
Okay.
Well, I must be going now. I have to meet this other deckhand, Nick, and give him a card also.
Thanks again, Jeremiah.
When a human being is in need, Jeremiah will not be far away.
Steve?
Yeah, I heard it all. Come on.
What?
We're going to follow Jeremiah. I'm cooking up an idea. If it works, you're going to have yourself a shipmate. We follow Jeremiah to his office near the waterfront. We wait down the street. Pretty soon, the sailor goes into the office. He's walking like he had quite a few drinks under his belt. In a few minutes, he comes out again. He's putting one of Jeremiah's cards in his pocket. Come on, Joe. Here he comes. Start walking.
Hey.
Sorry.
Why don't you look out where you're going?
Same to you, bud.
Now, break it up. It was just an accident. Hey, didn't you just come out of Jeremiah's office?
Yeah, what's it to you?
Oh, I was just wondering if he was there. I gotta find out some more stuff from him about this boat I'm shoving off on tomorrow morning.
Oh, the Sea Witch?
Yeah, why?
Oh, looks like we're gonna be shipmates.
Yeah? Hey, you sailing on it too, huh? Ah, my name's Joe.
Oh, Nick's mine.
Ah, this is Steve, buddy of mine.
Hi.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, this calls for a drink, huh?
Yeah, I could use one. How about you, Nick?
Sure, I can always use one. And this is our last day ashore, too. Come on, let's go.
2 hours and 5 bars later, Joe and I managed to find out that Nick hasn't ever seen the skipper of the Sea Witch. Finally, Nick figures he's had too much.
I gotta get out of here.
Sure, Nick, sure. Here, give me a hand, Joe.
Okay. Oh, easy, Nick. I need some fresh air.
Yeah, that's where we're going,
Fresh air.
outside. There you are. Feel better now?
Oh, yeah. Fresh air. It's wonderful.
Catch him, Joe.
I got him. Well, now what?
Huh?
Steve will have to take him to the police station, I guess.
Yeah, it's right next door, too. Quite a coincidence, huh? Come on, I'll carry him.
Okay.
Brother, he's no lightweight.
Here we are. Yeah, Steve, set him down on that chair over there.
Yeah.
Hello. What's all this?
We've got a package for you. He's it.
Drunk?
Slightly. My name's Mitchell, Constable. Steve Mitchell. Here are my credentials.
I say. What can I do for you, chap?
You got a nice private cell where you could deposit this guy, Nick?
Well, I suppose so. Ordinarily, we'd throw him into the drunk tank.
Well, this isn't an ordinary occasion. I'll fill you in on it after you lock him up. I get Jeremiah's card off Nick. Then I make a deal with the constable. He puts Nick in a private cell and me in the drunk tank. And from now on, he's to call me Nick. Joe sends a message to the skipper that Nick is locked up. Then I roost there the rest of the night, watching a few assorted cases of DTs. Morning finally comes, and with it comes a visitor.
All right, now. Look alive, chums. Which one of you is Nick?
I am.
On your feet, then. Here's someone to pick you up.
Who are you?
The skipper. We'll see your card.
Here it is.
Come on. Good moving, Nick.
Okay, let's go.
Nick, if I wasn't short-handed, I'd let you rot in the drunk tank.
Ah, simmer down, will you?
We'll shove off in an hour. Be aboard.
Sure. I'll get my gear together and be down there in plenty of time. I'll see you later, Skipper. I start down the street in one direction, the skipper goes in another. I wait until I'm out of his sight, then I double back and head for Joe's rooming house. I turn a corner just in time to see the skipper going inside. But the skipper isn't even supposed to know Joe, let alone where he lives. That means just one thing, there's been a leak. I shift into high, but just as I get to the door, I head for the rickety stairs, but a door opens above and Joe staggers out into the hall. Steve! Joe, here, let me...
No, it's too late, Steve.
The skipper?
Yeah. He doesn't know about you, Steve. I told him I was working alone. Get aboard the Sea Witch, Steve. You're on your own.
In a moment, you'll hear the second act of Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy, after this brief word from the Ford dealers of America.
All over the country, folks are praising the beautiful new Ford, and no wonder. For this car is a masterpiece of sleek fashion styling. But there's more than style in the new Ford, much more. There's safety, too. Safety that's built into Ford features, into its dependable Magic Action king-size brakes, for example, into its sturdy all-steel lifeguard body, and into its advanced steering mechanism. And the new Ford brings you economy, too. It's low in first cost and high in resale value. It's thrifty on gas and oil, and inexpensive to maintain. So before you buy any car at any price, stop by your neighborhood Ford dealers. Look over the new Ford for beauty. Check its many safety features. Get the facts about Ford economy. Then discover the flashing performance and big car comfort of this truly great car. Test drive the 100-horsepower V8 or its companion in quality, the 95-horsepower 6. See, hear, and feel why the big new Ford is the one fine car in the low-price field.
And now, here is the second act of Dangerous Assignment.
Yeah, I'm really on my own now. Joe's dead. I know the skipper killed him, but I can't tip my hand yet. I have to play it close to the chest. So I go down to the waterfront and get aboard the Sea Witch.
Get forward and help Griggs with the lines. We're ready to shove off and we're short-handed. Some rum-dum named Joe didn't show up.
Hey, just a minute.
What's the matter, Griggs?
You're the guy who was making a play for my girl at the Tradewinds bar yesterday.
So what?
So what are you doing aboard?
Same as you, Buster. I'm sailing on this tub.
What? Look, Skipper, get this guy off.
You look. I'm the skipper. I run this boat.
Yeah? Well, don't forget I'm the only guy who knows where to take this boat.
Griggs, you're getting paid for this job, same as I. And the boss says this guy goes. Now, shut up!
Sorry, Griggs.
Okay. But just remember, I don't like you.
That's tough.
Yeah, it could be.
Now, break it off, both of you. Get busy with those lines. Hey, you, Lord Barn.
Yes, Skipper?
Hey, that Calypso singer going along, too?
Yeah, he's a pretty good deckhand. Now, get that engine started. We're shoving off.
I watch the shoreline at Trinidad fade away, and I wonder if I'll ever see it again. Joe and I had figured we'd be 2 against 3 when the showdown came, but now it looks like it's 1 against 3. I can't figure out where Lord Byron, the Calypso singer, stands in the deal, so the third day out, I'm on deck when I hear him singing.
Oh, the Sea Witch, she sail on the Carib Sea, to hunt buried treasure for you and me. If we don't find the treasure, then the hunt is done. Lord Byron don't care, 'cause he still have fun.
You sound like you don't care whether we find this treasure or not.
Oh, many people seek treasure, Nick. Few of them ever find it. But it's fun looking.
Hey, did you ever sail with Griggs or the skipper before?
No.
You know, I have a theory that you can trust a happy man.
Well, you and me, Nick, we are happy people, but Skipper and Griggs, they're not. It's too bad.
Yeah. Look, if you ever hear the skipper and Griggs talking about me, I'd like you to come and tell me right away.
Sure, Nick. I'll come and tell you right away if I hear anything.
Good.
Okay, Nick. This is it.
Aye?
You're going to work.
What do you mean, Skipper?
Get into a diving suit.
What?
You heard me? I want you to go down and see if we're over that sunken ship.
What's the matter with Griggs? I thought he was the diver.
He's got a bellyache.
Oh. Kind of hit him all of a sudden, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Look, I was told you were a diver, too.
Well, sure I am.
Then get into the suit. Lord Byron will tend your lines and man the pump. Get moving.
I don't like it. It smells like trouble all of a sudden, but there's nothing I can do. I get into the diving suit. They fasten the helmet over my head, and Lord Byron helps me over the side. On the bottom, it's cold and murky and quiet. I poke around for about 15 minutes, but I can't see the sunken ship anywhere. Lord Byron, you better haul me up. Lord Byron.
He's busy, Nick. I'm handling your lines now.
Oh. Well, Skipper, I can't spot that hulk anywhere.
Can't be far.
Well, it isn't here. How about hauling me up?
You getting enough air, Nick?
Yeah, but keep it coming, huh?
Sure, Nick. Sure. I'll haul you up now, but I want you to keep your suit on. We'll move on a couple of 100 yards, and you and Griggs will go down again.
Griggs? I thought he was sick.
He feels okay all of a sudden.
Let's see. Look, come on, haul me up, will you? Getting lonesome down here.
Sure, Nick. Sure.
I'm sweating plenty inside that suit on the way to the surface. For a couple of grim seconds, when the skipper was asking me about my air supply, I figured he was onto me and playing cat and mouse. Yeah, it was good to get that fishbowl off of my head. Yeah, I thought I was in trouble then, but if I could have seen what was happening at the Trinidad jail, I'd have known how much trouble I really was in.
Good morning, Constable.
Oh, Jeremiah. Down here to save a few souls this morning?
I am making my usual visit to offer my services to any unfortunate sailors who may have fallen in with evil companions, yes.
Well, the crop we've got in the tank this morning don't seem to have much of value on them.
My good man, you do not seem to realize that pawning articles is but a minor thing with me. My larger aim is to serve humanity.
Of course. Clumsy of me to forget, Jeremiah. Well, you know where the drunk tank is. Help yourself.
Thank you.
Jeremiah.
What? Who called me?
Jeremiah, over here.
Why, Nick. Nick, you're supposed to be out on the Sea Witch.
Two guys got me drunk and hauled me in here.
Who were they?
One of them's name was Joe. The other I don't remember.
Joe was taken care of before the Sea Witch sailed. Do you still have my card?
No, it was gone when I came to.
I see. This friend of Joe's must have taken your place, Nick. I will get a message to the Sea Witch at once.
All set, Nick?
Yeah, I guess so, Griggs. Where's the skipper?
Up in the radio shack. There's a radio message coming in. Lord Byron here can let us down and handle the pump.
Sure, Griggs.
Okay. You go down first and wait for me. Don't do anything until I get down there.
Okay.
Screw his faceplate on, Lord Byron.
Sure, Griggs.
Okay. Lower him.
This time we've got the right location. I land right on the sunken ship. It's lying on its side. Griggs comes down after me and drops into a hole in the side of the ship. In a minute, he crawls out with a waterproof container. The underwater demolition data we're both after. Then he stiffens and seems to be listening to something. Divers' phones are on separate lines, so I can't hear what Griggs was listening to, but suddenly Lord Byron is singing into my phone.
Oh, there were once two men in the diving suits, and one of them's in trouble, you can bet your boots. The bad man is holding a knife very tight. The good man had better begin to fight.
Great time to be singing. Then suddenly it registers. It's more than a song, it's a warning. I turn around just in time to see Griggs bringing his knife through the water toward my diving suit. From then on, it's like a slow-motion movie. I manage to get my hand around his wrist in time, and I start inching him back toward the hole in the side of the ship. We sway back and forth for a few seconds. Then I finally get my shoulder against him and shove. He topples over into the hole. There's slack in his cable. I take a turn around the beam. Then I fish my own knife out of my belt and cut his phone line. Lord Byron, haul me up.
He's a little unconscious right now, Nick. Whatever your name is.
Huh?
I just got a radio message about you from Jeremiah.
Jeremiah? Oh, so he's the big boss.
Yeah. It looks like that message came just in time. With you on the bottom and me on the surface. I got news for you, brother. You're not coming up.
In a moment, the conclusion of Dangerous Assignment. Now, a brief message from the Ford dealers of America.
Owners everywhere are raving about their 1950 Fords. Here is what Mr. Clyde McNeely of Illinois, one of more than 410,000 new Ford owners, has to say about his 50 Ford.
Being a metal plater, I naturally am interested in machinery and metals. I've realized for many years that Ford had a real power plant under the hood. Now that I own a 1950 Ford, I'm sold on it, particularly because of the engine and also because I like its style. It surprises me that the 100-horsepower V8 engine is so quiet. In fact, the mechanical features of the 1950 Ford are outstanding. Its power and quietness, the way it rides, the ease of handling, and its economy.
Yes, ask any Ford owner how he feels about his big new Ford, and he'll tell you it's tops for performance and for comfort. But prove it for yourself. Drop into your neighborhood Ford dealers and test drive this great car. You'll be amazed when you discover how little it costs to buy, to run, and to maintain. Do it tomorrow. Test drive the big new 1950 Ford.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it. But if I'm not coming up, neither is Griggs.
What did you do to him?
He's out of commission right now.
No wonder he can't talk to me. Well, you won't be talking much longer either, Nick. I'm turning off your air.
Now, look.
So long, sucker.
Wait a minute. If you turn off my air, I've still got time to open this container and scatter these papers you're after. You'll never get them.
Yeah, you're just bluffing, Nick. According to Griggs, those papers are sealed in there too tight for you to do anything about in a diving suit. I'm going to haul Griggs up and leave you there.
Yeah? Well, just tell me one thing, Skipper.
Yeah, what is it?
You weren't on deck when Lord Byron lowered us. How do you know which liner is which? How do you know which one of us you're going to haul up?
Not good enough, Nick. I know which phone I'm talking to you on, and I can see which line it's connected to.
Maybe I had Lord Byron switch the phone lines when he let us down.
Not a chance. Like I said before. So long, sucker.
I played my last card, and he trumped it. I stand there with a sick feeling in my middle as I watch Griggs' line tighten with a jerk, and suddenly I know there's only one thing more I can do.
Well, so you did switch phone lines on me, huh? Thanks for the tip, Nick. I knew if I jerked your line hard enough, I could get a grunt out of you. Now I'm sure which line to haul up.
It had worked. Griggs' line slackens, and the skipper starts hauling me up. Halfway to the surface, he turns off the air. That's good. There'll be less air in my suit, and I can move my arms better. I let my body go limp and slump my head down below the faceplate in the helmet like I'm unconscious. I surface. The skipper hauls me up on deck and unscrews the faceplate.
Okay, Griggs. You'll be all right.
You guessed wrong.
Nick!
Yeah, come on, Skipper. Let's bump heads.
Oh. Nick, you okay? I tried to warn you.
Yeah, that warning came just in time. Thanks, Lord Byron. When I get out of this suit, I'll untie you, and we'll haul up Griggs and head for Trinidad. And Jeremiah.
Untie you? Jeremiah? You know, Nick, this almost sounds like a calypso song.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Well, then, I might as well finish it. How's that thing go? Oh, Jeremiah was a fine man, he, until he sent his bad boys out to sea. They got all fouled up down near the equator. Now Stephen Lord Byron bring back the demolition dater. How's that?
Nick, in the future, I had better sing the calypso.
Yeah, maybe you had better.
You have just heard another episode in the exciting new adventure series, Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell. Dangerous Assignment, written by Bob Reif with music by Bruce Ashley, is directed by Bill Karn. Be with us next week at this time when Brian Donlevy, starring as Steve Mitchell, will embark on another Dangerous Assignment. Tomorrow, be sure to hear Bob Hope and Fibber McGee on NBC.
From 74 years ago, April 10th, 1950, and Dangerous Assignment. Coming up next, The Strange Dr. Weird.
I'm Raymond Massey, and I have a special message for senior citizens. Today's doctors, drugs, and medical devices truly work medical miracles for young and old alike. But there are some as phony as a $3 bill. Like this Zeret applicator, for example, which is claimed to cure arthritis with Z-rays. There are no Z-rays. This fake device claimed to cure cancer with tape-recorded music. The practitioner who used it was as big a phony as his device. A doorbell doctor sold this food supplement to treat 42 diseases. It has nothing of value that's not contained in the food you buy at your supermarket. Investigate before you invest in health services or products. Help stamp out quackery.
This has been a public service announcement from the Food and Drug Administration in cooperation with this station.
Okay, we wrap up this edition on a Wednesday of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. After I remind you tomorrow, Mr. District Attorney, Orson Welles and the Lives of Harry Lime, The Mysterious Traveler, Beyond Tomorrow, and Last of the Clipper, an episode of the serial Superman. And I ask you to come visit me at classicradio.stream. But now sponsored by Adam Hatz, The Strange Dr. Weird. This episode broadcast 79 years ago, April 10th, 1945, When Killers Meet.
The Strange Dr. Weird.
Good evening. Come in, won't you? What's the matter? You seem pale tonight. Perhaps you're working too hard. Suppose I tell you a story I've just heard that might relax you. It's about a killer who prided himself on being too clever to be caught, and what happened when he met another murderer who was equally clever. I call the story When Killers Meet. My story begins in a small Midwestern city. It is late afternoon, and two men are crouching in the shadows of an alley in the downtown section. They are Nick Randolph, clever jewel thief, and his companion, Mike Nelson. And they are being hunted by the police.
Nick, listen. Those patrol cars, they're all around us. Nick, we're trapped.
I'll get us out of it. Have I ever slipped up yet?
No, but you did this afternoon when you plugged that jeweler. Oh, what did you have to kill him for?
Because he saw me substitute that phony diamond for the real one. His testimony could have sent us to the pen for 10 years.
Yeah, and now he's dead. And if we are caught, we get the rope instead.
A dead witness can't testify, and we're not going to be caught. Once we get hold of a car, I know every back road around here. I can get us onto one where they'll never dream of looking for us.
Yeah? And where are we going to get a car?
We're going to have one inside of 1 minute. Look at that guy walking this way. He's taking keys out of his pocket. He's going to unlock that car parked there at the end of the alley.
Here he is stopping. And it's his car, all right.
Come on, follow me. I'll handle this.
Okay, Nick.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
Yeah? What is it? A gun. What is this, a hold-up?
Not exactly. Call it an emergency borrowing. All right, Mike, pick up his keys. We're on our way. Well, Mike, you getting your confidence in me back yet?
All right, Nick, I admit it. You got what it takes.
I've never been caught, never been jailed, Mike. Why? Because I'm too clever. No witness has ever testified against me. I've never left a possible witness alive. See?
Yeah. Here, I see, Nick. What's the next move?
This road will take us out of the state in another hour. We have to go through a couple of villages, but nobody will stop us. They're not looking for us here. Besides, it'll be dark in 20 minutes. Suppose you turn on the radio. There might be some news.
Okay. Just time for the news, too.
Time for the invasion. And now, please, attention, everyone. Attention, everyone. Be on the lookout for two men fleeing the state in a stolen black sedan. These two men are wanted for the hold-up murder of John A. Smith in Central City this afternoon.
Nick, they know about the car.
Please take down this license number, K370154. K370154. That is the license number of the stolen car in which the killers are
And they
fleeing.
got the license number, too, Nick.
Shut up, Mike.
The owner, now in City Hospital, near death from a bullet wound, reports that the left headlight of the stolen car is burned out. So if you see a black sedan with only one headlight, report it at once to the nearest authorities. And now, back to the new...
Blast the luck. I should have fed him more slugs. Then he wouldn't have done any talking.
That's bad. What are we going to do now, Nick?
Well, first, let's make sure about that headlight. I'll turn it on and... Yeah, the left one is burned out. Well, that means we've got to get another car or they'll nab us sure.
Oh, how are we going to get another buggy way out here in the country?
I'll tell you how. Look, up there on top of that hill ahead of us.
Huh? A bungalow with lights in the window. Yeah, and a car parked in the yard.
That's the car we're going to get, and nobody's going to know we have it because we're going to make dead sure there isn't a living soul left in that bungalow to tell about it.
Hardly 2 minutes later, the two men stopped their car in the driveway outside the little bungalow and stared with hard eyes toward the brightly lighted windows.
Well, here we are. See anyone around?
No. Everybody must be inside. What's up, Lee?
We'll go up and knock, pretend we've lost our way. Get inside, then make sure we have everybody in the house spotted.
And then we start blasting, huh?
That's right. And this time there'll be no slip-up. Okay, let's go.
Nick and Mike strode up the gravel path and knocked on the door of the bungalow. A little man, whose face was twisted by horror and remorse, opened it for them and then startled them by crying out.
Sheriff, you're here. Thank heaven you came so quick.
What the...
Sheriff, what do you mean, Sheriff?
Sheriff, I didn't mean to do it. I really didn't mean to do it.
Nick, what's the guy talking about?
Here, Sheriff, take it. Please take it. It's a poker I killed her with.
A bloodstained poker.
She's been nagging at me all day, telling me what a failure I was. How sorry she was she ever married me. And then I hit her. She fell and there was blood all over.
Say, what is this, Nick?
Mike, look.
Good grief. It's a woman lying on the floor at the foot of the stairs. And there's blood all over her hair and on the floor beside her head.
Yeah, don't you get it? We've stumbled onto a murder. This little punk has just killed his wife.
Doctor, with all your experience, what is the first thing you notice about people?
Whether they're living or dead.
Well, that does make a difference, doesn't it? And you know, Doctor, I noticed the same thing, only with hats, not people. Some hats look alive. Some are dead. A hat that stays lively and in fine shape a long time after it's been bought will naturally make the rest of your clothes look worlds better. A colorless and dead-looking hat can kill the good effect of even the most fashionable apparel. Hats can make a difference. Gentlemen, wear a smart-looking hat that will keep its shape and help you look your best. Wear an Adam hat. They are made of fine, quality material, tailored and blocked in the latest styles. And an Adam will fit your head perfectly. You're not always tugging at the brim and adjusting the crown. Remember the name, Adam. An Adam hat does make a difference. Now, back to the strange Dr. Weir.
And now I'll continue my story when killers meet. For a minute, Nick Randolph and Mike Nelson, startled by stumbling onto a murder in the very house where they had planned to eliminate all the residents and steal another getaway car, could only stare at the dead woman lying in the hall and at the little man blurting out his pitiful confession.
I didn't mean to kill her. I didn't, I tell you, I didn't.
Then brutally, Nick grabbed the little man and shook him.
Listen to me. You hear? Listen to me.
Yes, Sheriff.
What's your name?
Harry Williams. But I told you that over the phone just now when I...
Yeah, I know, but now let me get this straight, Williams. Your wife's been nagging you all day. So just now you hit her with a poker, is that it?
Yeah, I just couldn't stand her nagging me anymore. Something in me snapped, but I didn't mean I didn't.
Now get control of yourself. You say you telephoned the sheriff 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, but aren't you the sheriff?
No, I'm not the sheriff. I was just passing, see? The sheriff will be here in a minute. Now, you sit down and wait for him.
Wait for him?
Yes, I'll stop in town to make sure that he's coming. Now, you go back in and sit down.
Go back and sit down?
Yes, that's right.
All right, if you say so.
Nick, what is this?
Don't you understand? This guy's a murderer. The sheriff and his deputies will be here any second. We've got to get away from this place, but fast.
But, Nick, I still don't get it. Why didn't we bump him off? Why didn't we even take his car?
Because we didn't have the time, you dummy. Don't you see he'd committed a murder? He'd sent for the cops. If we'd hung around even a minute more, we might have bumped into him.
Yeah, and that's the last thing we wanted to do now, to bump into any cops.
As it is, with the sheriff hustling out there to pick up this Williams guy, he won't be thinking of us. We can get into the next town, maybe pick up another car there. But the one place we had to get away from fast was that house back there with that dead woman in it.
Sure, I see that now. And, Nick, Nick, look, down the road. A car pulled right across the road. And a bunch of guys with rifles.
A trap. Well, we're not stopping. We're not going to be caught.
Yeah, what are we going to do?
I'll swing it around it. I'll hit the ditch. Hold on. Here we go.
Nick, they're shooting at us.
Well, hang on. We're going to make it. No, look down, Nick. That tree. We're going to hit it.
A few minutes later, the local sheriff was interviewing little Harry Williams, whose murder of his wife had thrown such a monkey wrench into Nick Randolph's plans.
Now, Mr. Williams, I'd like to get this whole story straight, if you don't mind.
Well, you see, Sheriff, I was sitting here in the living room with Nancy, that's my wife, listening to the radio, when the broadcast came on warning everybody to watch for the two men in the sedan with one burned-out headlight.
Yeah?
And that instant, I happened to look out the window there. And way down the road, I saw the single headlight of a car blink on for a moment.
I get you. Go on, Mr. Williams.
Well, I realized it must be the two killers in that car, and I knew they might decide to stop and take my car. Now, if they did, I was sure they killed both Nancy and myself, so we couldn't warn anybody.
Right. Why they didn't do it, I still don't know.
Well, you see, Sheriff, it's like this. Nancy is recovering from a broken leg, so we couldn't run out of the house and hide.
Yeah?
Yet, if we stayed here, the two killers might murder us. I had to think fast because it was a very tight spot.
I'll say it was.
So I quickly carried Nancy out and put her down on the hall floor. I told her to play dead, then I emptied a bottle of ketchup on the floor in her hair to look like blood.
Yeah.
Now, when those two killers knocked on the door half a minute later, I opened it and pretended to be a man who had just killed his wife in a sudden rage.
Holy smoke.
Yeah, I told them I just murdered Nancy and phoned you to come at once. They thought Nancy was really dead and that you and your men were actually on the way. So they turned right around and got away from here just as fast as they could.
Well, I'll be darned.
You see, I figured to myself that when a killer is trying to escape, the one individual he most wants to avoid is another murderer whom the police are closing in on.
Yeah?
And they were so anxious to give me a wide berth that they never even touched me. As soon as they left, I phoned you. You set the trap for them. Yeah, well, I guess everything worked out pretty well.
Why, it worked out perfect. Say, Williams, with an imagination like yours, you ought to be a detective story writer.
Well, to tell you the truth, Sheriff, that's just what I am.
So that's what happens when one killer meets another. He gives him as wide a berth as possible. Only, of course, poor Nick was fooled. Harry Williams wasn't really a murderer at all. Now, what would have happened if, instead of being just a make-believe killer, little Harry had really been the real thing? Do you suppose that... Oh, you're leaving now. I'm sorry. I hope you'll drop in again soon. Just look for the house on the other side of the cemetery. The house of Dr. Weird.
And that's from 79 years ago, April 10th, 1945, The Strange Dr. Weird here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream, and you can stream all of our shows on demand. Learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. Find our social media links, and if you're so inclined, you can buy me a copy. On our Thursday edition, we will have Mr. District Attorney, The Lives of Harry Lime, The Mysterious Traveler, Beyond Tomorrow, and Superman. That'll be up on Thursday. Have yourself a great Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow for more Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.